Hello and welcome back to another video. Today I'll be telling you a story about John Dalton. Now many of you who live in Manchester might have seen the sign around Manchester on the wall, and I bet you're thinking, who is this John Dalton? Allow me to explain. John Dalton was born into a Quaker family in Egglesfield near Cockermouth in Cumberland, England. His father was a weaver. He received his early education from his father from Quaker John Fletcher, who ran a private school in the nearby village of Pardshaw Hall. Dalton's family was too poor to support him for long, and he began to earn his living from the age of 10 in the service of wealthy local Quaker Ethel Robinson. When he was 15, Dalton joined his older brother Jonathan in running a Quaker school in Kendal, Westmoreland, about 45 miles from his home. At the age of 23, Dalton may have considered studying law or medicine, but his relatives did not encourage him. Perhaps being a dissenter, he was barred from attending English universities. He acquired much scientific knowledge from informal instruction by John Gough, a blind philosopher who was gifted in the science and arts at 27. He was appointed teacher of mathematics and natural philosophy at the Manchester Academy in Manchester, a descending academy, the lineal predecessor following a number of changes of location of Harris, Manchester College. He remained for 7 years when the college worsening financial situation led to his resignation. Dalton began a new career as a private tutor at the same two subjects. Arguably the most important of all, Dalton's investigations are concerned with atomic theory in chemistry. While his name is inseparably associated with this theory, the origin of Dalton's atomic theory is not fully understood. The theory may not have been suggested to him either by researchers on ethylene or by analysis of nitrous oxide. Both views rested on the authority of Thomas Thomson. From 1814 to 1819, Irish chemist William Higgins claimed that Dalton had plagiarized his idea, but Higgins' theory did not address relative atomic mass. However, recent evidence suggests that Dalton's development of thought may have been influenced by the idea of another Irish chemist, Brian Higgins, who was William's uncle. Brian believed that atom was a heavy central particle surrounded by an atmosphere of caloric, and he supposed the substance of heat at the time. The size of the atom was determined by the diameter and the caloric atmosphere. Based on the evidence, Dalton was aware of Brian's theory and adopted very similar ideas and language, but he never acknowledged Brian's anticipation of his caloric model. However, the essential novelty of Dalton's atomic theory is that it provided a method of calculating relative atomic weights by the chemical elements, something neither Brian or William Higgins did. His priority for that crucial step is uncontested. After leaving the Lake District, Dalton returned annually to spend his holidays studying meteorology, something which involved a lot of hill walking, until the advent of aeroplanes and weather balloons. The only way to make measurements of temperature and humidity at altitude was to climb a mountain. Dalton estimated the height using a barometer. The Ordnance Survey did not publish maps for the Lake District until the 1860s. Before then, Dalton was one of the few authorities on the height of the region's mountains. He was often accompanied by Jonathan Otley, who also made a study of the heights of the local peaks, using Dalton's figures as a comparison to check his work. Otley published his information in this map of 1818. Otley became both assistant and a friend of Dalton. In 1794, shortly after his arrival in Manchester, Dalton was elected a member of the Manchester Literary and Philosophical Society, the Lit and Phil, and a few weeks later he communicated his first paper on extraordinary facts related to the vision of colours, in which he postulated the shortage in colour perception was caused by discoloration of the liquid medium of the eyeball. As both he and his brother were colour-blind, he recognised that the conditions must be hereditary. Although Dalton's theory was later disproven, his early research into colour vision deficiency was recognised after his lifetime examination of his preserved eyeball in 1995 demonstrated that Dalton had a less common kind of colour blindness due to photometopia, in which medium wavelength sensitive cones are missing, rather than function of the mutated form of pigment as most common colour blindness. Besides the blue and purple of the optical spectrum, he was only able to recognise the colour yellow, or how he said as in paper.